Coming up on today's show, if you have squash from your garden, we have the recipe for you. Stay tuned. Coming up on today's show, if you have squash from your garden, we have the recipe for you. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne Didi.
And you have a recipe here for a chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash.
Sounds
boat.
pretty good.
It does. So I'm interested in how this works. And then also we have a recipe for an easy cranberry and apple cake.
Time of the year.
It is. It's fall. We have to, use up our produce from our gardens and our trees. So if you want to cook along with us, just grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down these ingredients. For the chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash boats, you're going to need a medium spaghetti squash, 2 large garlic cloves, a tablespoon of olive oil, 3/4 cup of chicken stock, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, a half a teaspoon of salt, ground pepper, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt, 2 cups of, or 6 ounces. I think that's kind of funny. Or what?
It says 2 cups of 6-ounce cooked chicken.
Okay, 2 cups of chicken. Let's just put it that way.
Cooked chicken.
Cooked chicken.
Right.
And a 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
So easy ingredients there.
Yep, it is.
And for the cranberry and apple cake, 12 ounces of fresh cranberries, Granny Applesmith apple, a half a cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of grated orange zest, a 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 large eggs, a cup and plus a tablespoon of sugar, a cup of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla.
And we'll go back to 1 stick of butter.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a half a cup. Okay?
I'm just making it extra rich today.
Yeah.
So we'll go back. A stick of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, a cup of flour, and a 4 teaspoon of salt.
Yeah. And, for my liking, I would rather say 1/2 cup of butter, 2 instead of a stick, and then you just...
Yeah.
But it's easy enough.
Okay. Where do you want to get started?
Well, what I did for the spaghetti squash, I did clean it, cut it and cleaned it. We needed to bake it for 30 minutes at 400 degrees.
Okay.
So it's all ready to take out of the oven.
Okay.
Okay. So it's going to be hot there, but so I'm not even, well, let's see. I'm going to turn it around here. And
so you bake them for a half hour at 400 degrees?
400 degrees, yes. This way now it's going to, when we put a fork in there, we can loosen that up and it'll look like spaghetti.
Okay.
So we're going to just set that aside because we want that to cool, too, so you can handle it. So this is a great opportunity. This is going to cool and we'll get our cake in the oven.
All right.
So I'll set it over here. Whoop.
Oh, that's all right.
The whole thing didn't go down. All right. So now with the cranberry cake or cranberry apple cake, the oven is at 325.
Okay.
And it bakes from 55 to 60 minutes. So
okay.
It says to put it in like a 12-inch pie plate.
Okay.
So we're going to grease that lightly. And what we're going to do here, I got my Granny Smith apple here cut, and it does say 12 ounces of fresh cranberries, or it says you can also use frozen.
Okay.
And you're going to find the frozen is pretty much where, when you go to the store, it's usually the frozen bag and stuff. So.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to just put that in there. I had just rinsed them down a little bit so that they would start unthawing. Now we're going to go ahead and add the half a cup of brown sugar in here. And a teaspoon of cinnamon, which I think that cinnamon is just what's going to give it a... I like cinnamon, so I use a lot there. And then we just want about a tablespoon, what does it say, for Yeah, a
A
tablespoon,
tablespoon of zest, and then we're gonna probably squeeze that and get a half a cup of, or a fourth cup of
orange
juice from it.
Yes. So we'll just. And you know, the thing is, you don't have to be exact, you know, with the zest, but you know, when I'm looking there, it's looking like I should be having about a tablespoon in there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna just put that down in there. And so now I'm going to just cut the orange. And we want about a, you know, well, here, I'll let you squeeze and I'm going to mix this. About a fourth cup. Might need both them. It's always hard to tell if it's how juicy they're going to be when you buy a whole orange. So we get this mixed well, and then we're going to just put this on the bottom of the pie plate.
Okay. So there's not a crust here.
There isn't. See, and this will bake into the batter, you know, when we put that batter on top of that.
I might not get a fourth cup out of this, Mom.
Well, if we don't, I do have some juice in the fridge too. And I was just going to start with regular orange juice. Then I thought, well,
we have we have an orange here that we can certainly use, but
yeah,
I don't think it'll be enough.
And I had that zest there's needing, so. Well, we got this mixed well here. It should be getting pretty close to that. We'll just put this here. And when you think of all these flavors in there, it's, you know, with your cranberries, your apple. And it says a Granny Smith apple, but you know, this time of year, you probably have some apples from a tree or whatever, and those are usually pretty tart. And that's pretty much what I would suggest that you want to use.
Okay.
So when we are there, we're real close at that fourth cup there. So that'd be great. Oh, there we go. So I'll just have you finish mixing that and then put it in the pie plate.
Okay.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to start with the eggs. And we want to get those eggs beaten just a little bit there. Now, our viewers might see a little bit, I mean, the recipes did say 2 large eggs. The eggs that I have weren't real large, so I'm just going to use 3 eggs.
Okay.
Always one way to solve a problem, if it is a problem.
Right.
Okay. So we just want to beat that up just a little bit there, get that well mixed.
Okay.
And stuff, so.
I got orange all over.
Yeah. Smell of oranges. Nice.
That was a good thing.
It's a nice smell. Any of your citrus, you know, like lemons, oranges, all of that.
Mm-hmm. So we have a crust that's going to go over the top then.
Yes, it's the batter. You know,
Okay.
the flour and the sugar and all of that. So when we here, you know, we wanted to get our eggs, and then we were going to add our sugar to that. That's a cup of sugar.
Okay.
Get that mixed up. And then we have the half a cup or stick of butter.
And it does say, you know, melted and slightly cooled. But it's at room temperature too.
It's at room temperature and it's very soft.
Okay.
So, and it did say have the eggs at room temperature, and that's what I did. And so when you put that in there, eggs aren't going to be cold. It's going to be
Yeah.
soft there. So. Okay. So we'll just put that in there. So we'll get that blended well. And so the wet ingredients, like I said, the eggs, and then we put the sugar in there, and then the butter, and then we got a fourth cup of sour cream.
Okay.
So we're going to put that in, and
And a teaspoon of vanilla.
Teaspoon of vanilla, and like a fourth. It says kosher salt. I have it, so that's what I'm using. But you're going to be fine with any salt that you have.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's looks well blended. So I'll add about a teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And then it had like a tablespoon of sugar, or it would actually it's it is just 1 tablespoon and a little bit of cinnamon, and I mix that up, and we're going to sprinkle that on top of the batter.
Okay.
Just for a little bit of a crust, with the sugar and that.
Sure.
So. Okay, there. Now I'm going to add the sour cream. There. Just blend that a little bit, and then we will put the flour in. And it actually says now we don't beat the flour a long time. It's just going to be
just
beaten
until
up.
it's incorporated.
Yes, right. So I'll put the salt in the flour so that when I put it in there. Okay. I'll just turn that down a little bit and get the 1 cup of flour in there. Turn it down a little bit, and just so that we get a batter out of it.
Sure. And it doesn't fly up in your face.
Right. And that's it. It's not a hard thing to assemble. When you looked at the ingredients and you're talking, it seemed like a lot of ingredients, but it's about the norm, what you would expect. So.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just get that out. Yeah, that down. So we'll take off our beater here.
And you can definitely, I smell orange right now, and that's what I'm smelling, just because it's such a fresh zest smell.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Doesn't, when you think of a cup of flour, you're thinking that's not a lot, but really you have more than adequate enough batter for this recipe for sure.
And it's a big pie plate too. I mean, this is a little bit larger pie plate than normal, isn't it?
Well, it's they had said like a 10-inch pie plate, a glass one, and I did choose my 12-inch.
Okay.
Because I really don't think that that's going to matter. And even I think if you really wanted to, you could put it in a square, maybe like a 9x9 pan or something,
sure.
Cake pan. So let's just spread that batter. I do think too, with the citrus in here, the orange and the zest, sometimes you don't want it probably in just like aluminum.
Okay.
Pie plate or whatever, because just the acid from that. Your bottom plates, aluminums, I think would be okay. But sometimes, and I have some aluminums that would tarnish a little bit just because of that citrus.
Okay.
So now we're going to just sprinkle this cinnamon and sugar on that. And like I said, that was just a tablespoon of sugar and a little over about a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon.
Okay.
And like I said, cinnamon is a very flavorful thing that I love cinnamon. So, you know, I usually probably go more than the 1 or 2 teaspoons sometimes it asks for.
You're a little bit generous with that.
Yeah, I am. Well, that tablespoon of sugar goes a long ways.
I think you had more in there.
No, think so.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Okay. Okay, now we're going to put this in the oven. And like I said, it says at 325 for about 55 minutes to 60. I'm going to go pretty much that 60 because I think with the fruit in there, that's what it's going to take.
Okay.
So let's kind of just check to see how our spaghetti squash, if that feels cool enough that we can work with that.
Okay.
And we're going to get a couple of forks here. 1, 2 for you and 2 for me. And I'll just get my washcloth. Just clean out here. Set this to the side.
And you know, I don't remember growing up with having spaghetti squash.
And
but
we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be.
So this is going to be interesting to see how this all turns out.
Well, it's cooling off. They said, did you want to, you know, you put your pork in there and see, it just baking it that 30 minutes at 400 degrees. Let's see, you have, it's amazing. That's what it looks like. It looks like spaghetti.
It does.
And a lot of times, you know, unless you have probably bigger gardens, you don't always have room so much for like squash and different, you know, things like that. But even one plant, because you go to the grocery store, I mean, they charge like, I mean, 90 cents a pound or like that, and that's you know, you're looking at this squash here, and I'll bet it was a good 4 pounds at least. Okay. So that made it easy enough. So so you do keep it in the shell.
Okay.
And that, so.
I'll make sure I get everything on the bottom.
And I'm going to just turn my, put my pan on here to heat that up a little bit, because now we're going to make the chicken Alfredo in there, so. There, that looks good. Okay.
All right.
There we go. So let's come over to the stove here. And what we're going to do, we're going to put a tablespoon of olive oil in here.
Okay.
And we got 2 large cloves of garlic. We want to saute that a little bit. Okay, so while that's heating up, it does ask for 2 tablespoons of cornstarch.
Okay.
And I have chicken broth here. Cornstarch, I like to dissolve it in cool liquid like this is, so that it doesn't lump up. So you just don't want to put have the liquid hot and then put the cornstarch in, because then it can get lumpy or something on you. So
Okay.
So we want to have that whisked up there. And this is just to help thicken up your sauce. Now what's going to happen too here, we'll have this ready before that cake is going to be done.
Okay.
Because our spaghetti, well, you know, the squash is already hot. This liquid is hot. It's only going to go into the oven for about 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
And so it's not a long time. So we'll get that all assembled, and then as the cake gets done, we can put the spaghetti squash in there too. So.
Okay.
So probably just stir that a little bit, make sure that that's all
right.
dissolved in there. So, so we want to just saute the garlic a little, just for a little bit until it's fragrant in there.
Okay.
So make sure you have a big enough skillet to start. It's not that, it's a lot, but we have the, 3/4 cup stock there and then the chicken. And this, well, it's 2 cups really compressed chicken. I had just maybe about a half a cup more than when I cooked, and I thought, there is no way that I'm not going to use that extra half a cup.
Right. That's
so
fine.
I compressed it, and it come to 2 cups.
You took all the air out of it.
I took all the air out of it, yes.
And like we've said before on the show, you don't have to be precise in cooking as much as you do in baking.
That's correct. No. Okay, now the garlic is fragrant. That just took a couple of minutes. Now we're going to put the liquid in here. I'm just going to hold the pan up a little bit because, it's pretty hot.
I'll stand back.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when you put that liquid, I'm going to put it over to the sink here.
Yeah, I gotta do it fast.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a trick to this.
So we're going to get that stirred up right away because that is going to thicken.
Oh yeah, you can see it thickening right away.
Yeah, it does. And that was just 2 tablespoons there. Okay, I can get that turned down. Okay, so now we're going to put in, it says 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt,
Okay.
plain. I did, because it does come in a small container, and that I believe it was 6 ounces. It might have been, 6 ounces is actually just right at the 3/4
Okay.
cup there. So we have that.
So you just want to get this warm before you add the chicken in?
Right. We just want to get it well blended here
Okay.
in there and stuff. So then we're going to add the 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese here. So see how just nice thick sauce there.
It does.
And it
It's
says
cream
like
sauce.
a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We probably don't want to go a tablespoon, huh? And as much pepper to taste. And I will probably have about a 1/2 teaspoon there.
All right.
So it does assemble pretty fast.
It does. And now this is this Parmesan cheese again?
This is the Parmesan cheese. And then when we put that in the oven, we assemble that and put this on top of the spaghetti boat. At the end, we're going to put a little bit of mozzarella cheese on top of it and put it back in the oven and just put it under the broiler a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Just to brown that with that cheese. So,
Okay.
it does, and I will have to give my coworker Lisa a shout out. She's the one that found the recipe for me.
Okay.
Because
Had she made it?
She had not.
But she found the recipe.
Right. Dr. Miller had spaghetti squash. She had a whole basket. And I thought I should take one. And I says, if you find a good recipe for me to make on the cooking show, I'll take one.
All right.
And so here we are.
So now next year when Dr. Miller has these again, you're probably going to say, oh, I'll take one.
Yeah, I might even take 2. Okay, so let's bring that over here.
Whoop, oops, careful.
My rug here. And when you have that, we're going to kind of mix in the spaghetti a little bit with it.
Okay.
To bring up the flavors there and the chicken all the way,
So we don't want to just keep it
No.
on top.
No, we do want to mix that in.
Okay.
Might give you just a little bit there. And now. And we can see that Parmesan cheese, it's, a little stringy in there. When that melts, it does. Now, it had said, to put it in like a casserole dish
Oh,
or
I don't
whatever.
know that you need to. You can probably just leave them
Right.
on here.
And I'm not, why mess up another pan? Because
Sure.
you got the shell there.
And the shell is still, I mean, that stays intact. That doesn't get
Yep,
soft there.
It stays very firm. I'm going to just do that. So that, save an extra dish.
Especially when you don't have a dishwasher.
Yeah. Most people would think, oh my gosh, no dishwasher, but
I know.
yeah. Didn't grow up with one, man, stuff, and I keep saying, it's my bonding time with you, with Dad and I, when we do dishes together, because
There you
he
go.
has to wipe.
Yep.
Okay. So blend it in. So we're going to just have this set aside here until a little bit closer till the time of that our cake is done.
Sure.
And then we'll be able to put that in the oven, and so anxious to give that a try.
It looks great.
Yep, it does.
Okay.
Country Rose Cafe on East Villard is open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Enjoy daily homemade specials, caramel and cinnamon rolls, several different kinds of homemade pies made fresh every day. Country Rose Cafe is also famous for homemade soup, including their ever-popular Nefla served every Tuesday. While you're in, make sure to pick up your Channel 18 Cooking Crave recipes and like us on Facebook for different specials and announcements. Country Rose Cafe, the way a cafe should be, located at 837 East Villard in Dickinson.
All right, the timer went off. I did take out the cake I had it in about 55 minutes. It looked like it was done, so I didn't go the extra 5 minutes.
Okay.
And so then we stuck the chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash in here. And that we heated up for 12 minutes. And we did put the cheese on right away when I put it in the oven. And then the last about 2 minutes here, I put the broiler on just to brown it.
Okay.
Just to look, so to brown that cheese. So that is going to be ready to go.
You want that here?
You
Or
know,
where do you
maybe I should put it on the board, and then we can bring that over here. Let's just kind of see what that's going to be like, and I can cut that. And I can actually, I don't know if you need this, or you just scoop out some of our chicken Alfredo spaghetti squash.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if that cake is cool enough that I can cut. It's a little bit warm yet, but I want to be able to get that out.
It might be too warm yet.
Oh, a little bit of help with both. Okay. No, I think that's going to work out great. Get a little of that. Okay, so that did set up really nice. And you got that fruit in there, the apples and cranberries. I think that's going to be
Yeah, it looks
an
great.
awesome dessert.
And you can kind of see how it kind of baked down into the crevices a little bit. So
Yep.
you serve that with a little bit of ice cream, and that's
Oh,
perfect.
vanilla ice cream, even Cool Whip.
Yeah.
We don't want to put that on right now because it's warm.
Right.
But yeah, that would be just
Be wonderful.
perfect. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, and to get these recipes, just go to our website, consolidatednd.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you on the show, and your name goes into the drawing for a cooking carry paper. That was nice to have. Thank you to our sponsors, and join us again next week when we do it all over again here on Cooking Crave.